Well, welcome to our 2020 Legends induction. And a special greeting to my co-host, Chris Mahlmann. Chris, how are you tonight?
Doing very good. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Well, we really appreciate. I think you and I are onto something. We've done Rose Awards this year. We've done our Christmas party this year, and now we're doing our Legends induction. And I really appreciate what you and your very talented team are able to do for us. This evening, we're announcing our Legends selected for the 2020 class. Those chosen are people who have roots in the South Shore and made or currently make it a better place. And there's a lot of criteria that go into this, Chris, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but take it away.
Well, it's great to be with you. Like you said, we've done a couple of these with the Hospitality Awards and the Rose and Rise Awards. And obviously, you just got to adapt to whatever's happening in the world around us. So sometimes we all can't be together, but we could still celebrate together some pretty legendary people in the region. I know the Legends Award, the Legend Awards are held and hosted at the South Shore CVA. So I look forward tonight to getting to know some of these amazing people.
Well, and what we do, we have a wall of legends, and there's plaques that tell you the story about a number of just tremendous regionites who really shaped what we've been able to do as a society. And they've impacted the world, and tonight's two winners are no different. But if you come see our wall of legends, you'll see people on there like the Jackson Five. You'll see Carl Malden. You'll see Dorothy Buell, and for which the Visitor Center in Porter County is named. You'll see just incredible people who were experts, and I'm glossing over the other 70 that I didn't touch, but there's just huge names and how they touched the world around them. So I'm really pleased that I'm able to be here tonight with you. And we've got a real treasure in what these individuals have been able to do. There are teams of people, and we're going to tell you a little more about that. Last year, we took a step forward in lionizing these people by combining the Legends induction with our annual holiday reception. This year, COVID interfered with that plan. And so, again, we're grateful to kind of break out and do this on its own. Again, I'm sorry I can't be in the studio with you live tonight, but on abundance of caution during this time of escalating COVID, I think it's just safer for all of us to be in our own space where we're comfortable. I'd like to also thank our Legend sponsor, BP Whiting Refinery. They have been on board since day one. And the BP Whiting Refinery has generously stepped up year after year. So let's thank everyone at BP, especially our good friend Michael Suggs and Tamara Lionheart. So we really appreciate what they do. Tonight, we'll induct our 77th and 78th Legends. And we'll end the program by introducing this year's Legend Scholar. Each year, we recognize a student who has demonstrated the Legends values in pursuit of higher education. Tonight, we'll recognize our 17th Legend Scholar. And I'll tell you, Chris, I believe you were in the room last year for our Christmas party combined with Legends. The young lady who won this Legend Scholarship last year brought down the house. Her story was as compelling and was so South Shore, so region. Her work ethic, her commitment to education, being a single mom, what she did just was absolutely an incredible story. And I know we're going to see great things from her and all 17 of our Legend Scholars.
Tell me a little bit about how does one qualify for this award?
We've had some incredible names be nominated, Chris, for the Legends. And you look at the paperwork that's submitted, and they're submitted by regular citizens in the community. And you'll see just this amazing body of work. Last year, one of the legends that jumps to my mind was Jerry Shube's brother. And Jerry's brother had spent most of his life walking the African continent, studying hundreds of different African dialects, and his impact on communications and speech and all was just an amazing thing to hear. But so oftentimes the four pillars of exploration, courage, creativity, and innovation, either here or elsewhere, have had a substantial impact with lasting implications. Their accomplishments still resonate in and beyond the region and have earned them the designation of South Shore Legends. And I can tell you, and we'll get to the the board that manages this process, Chris, we've sat around and talked about incredibly brilliant, talented, huge impact from people. And we hold up some of these 4 pillars and say, well, did it really impact this variable or that? And I have to give credit to the board. The board's like, as amazingly impressive as they are, it didn't rise in this area. And you just see these great people. And so when you get a Legends Award, it's a big deal. And we're just really happy to be with you tonight. There are many legends ranging from astronauts to Nobel Prize recipients to Medal of Honor recipients to pioneers in aviation and the arts, trailblazers in business, and a diverse range of fields. Each must demonstrate at least one of the 4 pillars by his or her actions, as noted earlier. These are exploration, courage, creativity, and innovation. Secondly, a legend is not just someone who has done something exemplary in the region. A legend must do things that also resonate out in the greater world. Third, by their actions, either here or elsewhere, they've had a lasting impact. And so now on to tonight's legends.
I get to share with you our first legend of 2020, and it is Donald S. Powers. Don Powers was born in Harrisburg, Kentucky. He went to high school in Indianapolis, and he left Purdue to enter the Navy shortly after Pearl Harbor. He served as a night fighter pilot on carriers in the Pacific. He was discharged in 1946, but recalled again to active service in 1950 as he served as a jet fighter and pilot in Korea. His beginnings in civilian life were modest. Upon graduation from Purdue, he was employed as an assistant agent at the Lake County Agricultural Extension Office. He also served as secretary of the Lake County Fair Board. Following his return from service, Don ultimately entered the insurance and real estate business, opening the Don Powers Agency in Munster. He's definitely best known for his contributions to healthcare. He helped create the Community Foundation of Northwest Indiana, and then went on to serve the statewide board of Purdue University for 15 years. From 1981 to 1989, Don served as the president of the board. And during his tenure, he helped put Purdue on the world's map for civil as well as electrical and computer engineering. Let's watch a video featuring his daughter, Frankie Fesco, who serves as the chair of the Community Foundation.
Well, first, I'd like to thank everyone for the honor. My dad would be very surprised and excited by receiving this honor. When he was in World War II, he volunteered for a night fighter squadron, which was an all-volunteer unit, and they flew night missions, and he was put on a carrier out in the Pacific and flew a number of missions, and then he was recalled to Korea in the early 50s, and again he was given control of or commanding officer for a squadron, and his squadron was called VC-61. Some may remember Gary Robert Powers that was shot down. Well, that was my father's old squadron, and they didn't have guns. They put cameras where guns were supposed to be, and they flew in over China and did reconnaissance. So I can't imagine doing that and why you would volunteer for those squadrons, but he did. So yes, he was a very brave man. Did many, many things to make Purdue a really world-class university. And Purdue, of course, was also where he got all the land to develop in Munster, because that was part of the land that Purdue owned. They owned sections of land all over the state of Indiana, and when he and his partners wanted to develop Munster, or South Munster, they were able to buy the land from Purdue University, so it played an enormous part in our lives. Community hospital was always sort of the impossible dream. There were a group of doctors that tried to put up a hospital in Munster. They were looking for a non-sectarian hospital that would be open to all. And they weren't having a great deal of success, and my father finally was invited to one of the meetings by Palmer Singleton. Some of you may remember him. And at the first meeting, the entire discussion was how they were going to raise money so they could return the money they had already spent to build the hospital. And my dad said that he thought it would be a whole lot easier to raise more money and actually build the hospital. And he had many connections in the state of Indiana, people he knew that were helpful with this. He viewed it as an economic engine for our area and thought that it would also have or help Munster grow because doctors and many people who would work at community hospital would move into our area. And it has turned out to be that way because we offer thousands of jobs, good jobs to people in this area, ranging from doctors to cleaning personnel, nurses, you name it, we have it. And we started out with probably 30 employees and now we have almost 7,000 and 4 hospitals. Because we are a not-for-profit, we take all the money that it makes and pour it back into the hospital and into community projects. Thus, the building that we're standing in has really been great for the town of Munster and for all of Lake County because we united all of the arts, like the symphony and the art association, in one building. And then we have the Community Veterans Memorial on Calumet Avenue, which has honored veterans and been a great place for people to go. We've had school groups that have come and they learn about the various wars and everything. So we have worked hard to make Munster and make Lake County a great place to live.
Pretty impressive, I would say.
I was sitting watching Frankie and thinking about the legacy that her father left for us. And I think that she probably left out to me one of the best parts of why I think Don Powers is a legend, and that is Frankie herself, her husband Tim, the work that they've done in this community through their service to charity, their service to community. Tim as a former state representative, and now the third generation with Don Powers, who is the current president and CEO of Community Hospital and the chairman of the RDA. I mean, this is a family that continues to give and give and give, and indicative of the legendary status of the Powers family through its second and third generations. The Fescoes, just in crazy legacy of service to community and humility, which when you met any of them, you would not know that this family had accomplished so much. So truly a pleasure to say that I know Frankie and Tim and Don, and congratulations to all of you and the entire Powers and Fesco family. Congratulations from the South Shore Convention Bureau Board of Directors, from our staff, and from clearly the entire community, the Board of Directors, from the legends as well. Well done. Now on to our second legend. It's a name that's going to surprise you, and it's going to surprise a lot of people who think they know Northwest Indiana history. It's Alva Curtis Roebuck, as in Sears and Roebuck. Alva Curtis Roebuck was a native of Lafayette, Indiana. He was a self-taught watchmaker who went on to become executive of one of the most American corporations to ever sell a grill, lawnmower, or pair of slacks. IU Northwest Assistant Professor of Economics, Micah Pollack, said, and I quote, "The golden age of mail order brought about in part by the rise of Sears Roebuck and Company, helmed by Alva Curtis Roebuck, who began his career in Hammond, Indiana. Roebuck lived and worked as a watchmaker for 15 years, as a teenager and a young adult in Hammond. He responded to a newspaper ad in the Chicago Daily News that Richard Sears put out shortly after opening a shop seeking someone to fix watches. Sears and Roebuck partnered up while they were both in their 20s and launched a catalog of watches and jewelry in 1888, that would eventually balloon to 532 pages and spawn a mail order empire, bringing the world to a largely still rural America. Wanting a quieter life, Roebuck sold his stock, get this, for $25,000 in 1895. About a century later, the company's annual revenue would surpass $59 billion in sales a year. Roebuck returned to the company twice. He ended up compiling a history of the company that would grow into America's largest retailer. Sears was the largest retailer until eclipsed by Walmart in 1989. Let's watch a video featuring Joseph Pete from the Northwest Indiana Times, who nominated Roebuck.
As a retail columnist for the Times of Northwest Indiana, I was fascinated to learn that Roebuck had spent his formative years in Hammond, Indiana, that he was a Lafayette native, but he came here for opportunity. He was a watchmaker who ran a shop in downtown Hammond at Homan and Sibley. He came as a young man. He was about 12 when he first moved to Hammond. He ended up opening a shop downtown where he sold jewelry and repaired watches. And he ended up staying in Hammond until he was 27, so he kind of forged a lot of his life here. But the big opportunity for him broke like later when he went and helped co-found Sears. He saw an ad in the Chicago Daily News for need of a watchmaker for the fledgling company that Sears had founded. He ended up leaving, going to Chicago, getting hired on the spot, and became one of the founders of one of the greatest American retail companies of all time, which went on to, have locations nationwide. It really transformed America during the 19th century. Sears and Roebuck were very visionary. They kind of anticipated the needs of the consumers. Roebuck kind of helped create an Amazon before there was an internet or before there was the technology. The mail order business, was very revolutionary in the 19th century in America. It was not only Sears, but it spawned many competitors and imitators, and just really helped shape the way Americans consume goods. Sears will definitely continue to be studied regardless of its future, because it just had such a transformative impact on the state of American retail. It was a revolution when they came up with the mail order catalog, when they brought products directly to consumers' doorsteps, when they built an empire that had never kind of been seen, and then they also just shaped the shopping in suburbia and across the nation for years. They helped really elevate the enclosed mall as a place where people went to shop. The department store anchors were kind of the big draw and helped support all the other businesses inside. They kind of, on two major occasions, they kind of were responsible for a tectonic shift in how Americans shopped and acquired goods. And, they grew into the largest retailer in the world for a century, which is a very impressive feat considering it's a very competitive sector and always has been. But they grew to a $60 billion company. They made countless brands that will probably outlast them. The Discover card was from Sears. The Allstate insurance was a byproduct of Sears. Die Hard batteries, Craftsman tools. They were responsible. They had so many business spinoffs that continue to thrive today. Can still see their impact today. Obviously, they built the Sears Tower, which was the largest skyscraper in the world for nearly a quarter century. It was Sears that was responsible for turning a building from the Columbia World's Fair into the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. They built schools all across the country. It was just a very significant American corporation, and they had a lasting impact.
Great job, Joe Pete, on telling that story. Who doesn't remember growing up with your Sears Roebuck catalog? And that's what you were thinking about every single Christmas.
Chris, you're showing your age.
Okay. The catalog, you're circling through it, and you're circling things, and you're asking for all these things, and then you're leaving notes for your
Is that when you were circling your Red Ryder BB gun?
Yeah, exactly. And, your little wagon and your Hot Wheels racetrack. I mean, it literally, people, my kids grew up with the Toys R Us catalog. I grew up with, the Sears catalog was like 500 pages long.
It was a lot of trees got felled to produce that catalog. So before we go on, Chris, and announce our 2020 Legend Scholar, I'd like to take a moment off script here and thank a group of people that I'll start with our board of managers. We don't publish the names of those very often because they like to be behind the scenes. They take their work very, very seriously in putting forward names like you're seeing tonight, both Don Powers and Mr. Roebuck. And so I want to thank them for their work. I'm fortunate to be able to just be the face of the organization and bring you the work of a very dedicated group of volunteers who take their job in naming legends very, very seriously. But even more harder working than that board of managers are two gentlemen who we wouldn't be here without their commitment to this program. John Davies, really his partnership with Stephen McShane from the Calumet Archives, John and Stephen came up with Legends. And this is really the work and the vision of John Davies and Stephen McShane, and we're fortunate enough to carry it forward. This board of managers wants to thank them as the founders of this very impressive multi-decade project, and we look forward to trying to live up to their expectations as we shepherd Legends for the next 20 years and continue to bring these names to the people of Northwest Indiana. So I just, as a personal note, I'm deeply humbled that John Davies trusts us and my team at the South Shore CVA and Stephen McShane for us to carry this forward with the board of managers. And I'd like to thank the board for their work. They're selfless, they're tireless, and they are very dedicated to making sure that when you see that name, it stands for something. So thank you to all of you.
Absolutely. And two amazing selections tonight for sure.
I invite you to get on our website and see the legends. It'll just blow you away that we have these people in our history and we were able to rub shoulders with them is very impressive. So get onto Along the South Shore, check out our legends, and you'll just be blown away by the body of work that these 78 people have done. And tonight, just look at that. A hospital, growing Purdue, creating the world's largest retailer for 100 years. I mean, these are people from the region. So I tell all of our young people, what are you going to do? How are you going to become a legend? How will you shape the world? And it's a young person like Priscilla Obeng Mensah, who this student that we're honoring tonight is from Ghana. She attends Purdue University Northwest and was selected for more than 42 entries. The environment in which she grew up was riddled with teenage pregnancy and massive poverty. Since her childhood, her aspiration was to achieve a higher level of education in spite of the barriers to girls and women where she's from. She said, quote, "Here in Northwest Indiana, I have the opportunity to realize my dreams." We applaud our 2020 Legends Scholar who aspires to be an inspiration to young ladies from Ghana. Also, we thank First Midwest Bank for their continued sponsorship of the Legends Scholarship with Legacy.
She's representing obviously not just her country, but she's representing this region. She's representing the university incredibly well. That sort of wraps us up on the program. I'm amazed that Don Powers and Alva Roebuck had the impact that they had. I didn't, prior to us going through this awards preparation, I didn't necessarily know nearly the history. I knew the Powers family. I didn't know the Roebuck history, and I didn't even know the extent of the Powers family. So it was great to recognize Priscilla as the 2020 Legends Scholar. And honestly, you keep bringing me all these good stories of people and organizations that kind of get highlighted. I appreciate the heck out of the opportunity to share them.
Well, Chris, we appreciate what you do, and I'm going to urge all of our viewers, and as you promote this in the future, that's just 2 of the 78. Imagine the first 76. They are as equally as impressive as these 2, and it's just, I love telling these stories, and our organization is, as I said before, deeply humbled to be trusted with this shrine of greatness that's in our visitor center for the 350,000 or so visitors we get every year to tell the great stories of the people of Northwest Indiana. And as I've said throughout my career, we have more than 81 different ethnic groups that continue to call Northwest Indiana home. And we have this kind of work ethic, this kind of entrepreneurship, this kind of innovation that sets us as a people. And I don't mean the cultures, I'm talking about as a region of people. apart from so many other places in Indiana and the country. So it's something to be proud of. Thank you for helping us tell this story tonight, Chris. Thank you to your great team, and thanks to all of our viewers tonight. Stay safe. COVID is on the rise. Protect you and your families, and we're going to see you. And I forgot to mention, I'm going to circle back. One of the 5 hospitals in the state of Indiana that's getting the 55,000 vaccines is Community Hospital. Another tribute to the impressive leadership of the Powers Fesco family and what they've done. And when I heard that list, we have great medical facilities throughout the region, but no surprise to me that this third generation under Don's leadership and direction, of course, they would be there helping the region get better. So with that, stay safe. It's good to see you. Can't wait to be with you soon.
Absolutely. And to the 7,000 people that are out there from community that are out there taking care of everybody in the region, and the whole rest of the healthcare region throughout the whole rest of the healthcare team throughout the region, we appreciate it. So thanks for hosting this with us, or thanks for allowing us to host this with you. And those are pretty legendary people that we're happy to honor.
We'll see you soon, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Good night.